When you create a Google Workspace environment, you will have been asked to add a domain. This domain needed to be verified to enable you to use that domain to create email addresses, the user accounts that everyone uses. What if at a later time you would like to add email aliases and use a different domain for that? Or you have students and you would like the students to use a different domain for their student accounts. And what about whitelisting domains? Well, stick around because those are the topics that we will cover in this video. Hi there, welcome back to our tutorial series on how to master the Google Admin Console. My name is Leon, I'm a Google certified trainer and administrator at a company called Cloudwise, the creators of the Cool School platform. Here at Cool, we help schools on how to use IT within education, and in this series, we would like to share our knowledge and experience with you on how to set up the Google Admin Console for your school. Specifically, in this video, we will cover how to manage domains within your Google Admin Console. Now, as always, of course, we need to be logged in to our Google Admin Console, and then we go to Domains. Under Domains, we have two options, and those are the options that we're going to cover in this video. We can manage domains and we can whitelist domains. I'll start off with managing domains. If we get to this page, there are a few things we can do to manage our domains. But first off, let's start with a bit of overview. We can go through our list of domains and see which ones are currently added to our environment. So currently edu.cloudwise.nl is set as a primary domain that will be visible in several places within the Google services and essentially should represent your main organization. You may want to change that later if, for example, certain schools merge and they continue together under a different name. We also have several domains that are added and we have one domain alias. If you want to add a new domain, we simply click Add a Domain. We have to set a domain name. Then we say Continue and Verify Domain Ownership. Now, if you were the one who already set up your Google Workspace environment for education, then you know this step. You will have already, you need to add a token to your DNS environment where the domain is hosted. That way, Google can check and verify that you are the owner of the domain you would like to use and therefore add it to your environment. There are several methods for verification. By default, it will suggest the text verification, but we can also switch to different verification methods, as you can see here. When I've selected the method, I can go to Continue. Then we get to a page where we get the text record that we can copy, or the CNAME, or the instructions at least, on what you should add to your DNS settings to ensure that Google can check and verify the ownership. You will find instructions on how to set up the DNS down below. It's very comprehensive and there's even a full instruction link to the other page that shows it step by step. Even so, if there are things that you run into and it gets difficult or you're not sure if you're doing it the right way, of course, by all means, contact a professional. And for that matter, if you would like us to help you out with setting up your Google Workspace environment, do let us know and reach out. We'd love to help. If we've done all the steps, we have set the verification method, the TXT record, or the CNAME, then I can click Verify My Domain. It will then check if some time has passed, whether or not it can find the token that we have generated. If so, then it will be added to our list as an active domain, or else it will stay there, but it will be set to inactive. So now you know how to set up and add a new domain. But what about domain aliases? It's almost the same thing as adding a domain because we just go through the same steps essentially. We fill in the domain and we go through the verification of the ownership, but there's one big difference. Now, if we add a domain, that means it becomes available for us to use to create new Google groups, new users, and new aliases. But then what is the difference with an alias domain? Well, that means, as the text already tells you, if we add a alias domain, all of our users will get a alias with the new domain, meaning that in this case, if I would have added the cloudschool.eu as a domain alias, all of our users would get their earlier prefix that was used with the primary domain, but also a domain alias, an email alias, based on the prefix and then with the new domain name. You would use this in some cases. A alias can be really useful, especially when you have to manage certain things between two separate environments. I have seen this in hybrid solutions, for example, between Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, where you would need to forward things and then you do this through an alias, for example. Then it is really nice to have a separate alias domain that automatically generates an alias for every user. Now that we ran through those processes and you know how to do that, I think it's also good to know that you can do a few things here. So if we hover over one of those domains, then we can see if we still need to set up the Google MX records, or we can skip this. You would skip it if you already have a mail server to handle all incoming and outgoing mail. We can make a domain primary, and of course we can remove it. Do be very mindful on when you would actually do a change of a primary domain. One of the few cases where I can imagine you want to do such a thing is when one school merges with another, they go and continue on under a different name, and they want a domain that matches that new name. Then you would say, I make a different domain the primary domain. All right, so then what about whitelisted domains? Maybe you have already encountered the term whitelisted domains or domain whitelist before within the Google Admin Console. Particularly within the apps and services, you may have encountered this. It has to do with setting certain domains up and whitelist them. In practice, that means that I see this used most often when a school has a very strict policy on sharing settings in regards to external parties. The same goes for Classroom. Maybe you don't want to allow your own students, your own users, to join other classrooms outside of your domain, or vice versa. Then adding domains to a whitelist really helps, because then those restrictions don't apply if that is how you set it up within that app or service. Here, it really is a matter of just adding a domain, filling in the domain, and then we click Save. That is really all there is to it. Do keep in mind that if we add a domain here, you should also check the settings for the app or the service, because maybe you have restricted it so much that also whitelisted domains don't get any additional privileges. If you check that, then you make sure that all the whitelisted domains that you put in here will also have additional privileges for the apps and services you require them to have. Now you know how you can add new domains, how you can add alias domains, how you can manage those, and of course how you can add new whitelisted domains. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you do let us know by liking the video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If there are any topics that you would like us to cover in the future, let us know by writing it down in the comments. We plan on doing an upload every week, so stay tuned for more short how-to videos. For now, thanks for watching. My name was Leon, and I'll see you in the next video.